Now, we've talked about projectiles that are thrown off a cliff. We talked about projectiles and talking about that they are independent in their x and the y velocities. Now we're going to talk about what do we do if we have a projectile that is shot at an angle. Okay, so we're going to say that there's a person that we have standing here, throws a baseball at an angle. Okay, it will still follow the parabolic path. Okay, we're going to say it follows that. There's a ground, and it follows. It will still follow that path that it takes. But the difference between projectiles that are shot or thrown at an angle and projectiles that are shot or thrown with only a horizontal velocity is that when they are shot with an angle, you have both an x initial velocity or an x velocity and a y initial velocity. Now, to solve for these types of problems, you have to do a little bit of trig work. Okay, and so we use SOHCAHTOA for this. Okay, so we have sine, so ka, toa. Okay. Now, what SOHCAHTOA is? SOHCAHTOA, basically what happens is all the projectiles that are fired, we're going to basically equate them down to a right triangle. Okay, and so we'll get this nice right triangle, and what we'll have is that when it tells us it's thrown at say we have a 25-degree angle. Okay, it's thrown at a 25-degree angle, and it gives us velocity. So we're just going to say that this guy throws at 25 meters per second at an angle of 25 degrees. Okay, what we have to do is when we're solving these types of problems, well, our x and our y are independent. Our x is going to turn into our adjacent, and our y is going to turn into our opposite. Okay, when we do this, we have to use these trig functions to figure out what our initial velocity is in the x and what our initial velocity is in the y. And then everything else we just line back up in our normal x, y, remembering that time is the same in both variables. We still have acceleration in our y, which is 9.8, but basically we have to use these trig functions before we even get started when we're working out these types of problems.